Well, black people are Native Americans. We've had, a lot of proof that, some of us started here in this land. Everybody wasn't brought over from Africa.
What are they doing here? They're Indians.
This is one of my many unsuccessful experiments. You see, with Indians, there's absolutely nothing to be done. There's the same difference between a Negro and an Indian as there is between a dog and a coyote. You can put a dog on a leash, beat him, and he'll always be there to lick your feet. Take away a coyote's liberty and you've cut off his heir. An Indian will never be a slave. No one has ever been able to make them reproduce in captivity. They do not eat, they do not talk, they do not sleep, they do not make love.
There are several things that are significant about it. Of course, one of them is the way that colonialism tries to develop all kinds of elaborate classification terms for different kinds of people, but that's another subject. The most significant thing here is to reveal the much greater amounts of Native American ancestry that are present within the African American population than most people realize, because they might have been misled by the use of terms like mulatto and also people of color.
After the African, LeVar Burton, had been told that his name was to be Toby, and he refused it, and he was beaten to make him say his name was Toby.
How was the dramatization? How much of that actually was recounted to you? I mean, was there a lot of interweaving?
A lot of it, I thought maybe you were going to ask, and maybe you are in another way, is how much of the book is fact and how much is fiction. Well, a whole lot of it's fiction. Well, a whole lot of it's fiction. Well, a whole lot of it's fiction.
Now, this is just a tiny bit of information now.
But they take it as huge.
Right, because it's cracking open the door.
There's a place in Africa you could say that I'm from. A tribe? I am thrilled. It puts a name, a place, a location, a people.
Hank Greeley is concerned that the science isn't really there yet for you to be giving them the name of a tribe.
I think for most companies, I would be concerned too.
But what about your own company?
We have
he
the
didn't
largest...
exclude you. He included you.
But we have the largest set of sequences from Africa. And so with that, we're able to provide some level of probability in terms of frequency.
But he would say that even though you have the largest database, it's still small on the scope of things.
As I said, I share those concerns. We don't oversell. I mean, we just say, look, we provide a service. If you're interested in exploring a tiny bit of your DNA and trace its ancestry, we can do that.
When you say it's a tiny little amount,
it's less than 0.1%. Less than 0.1%. Less than 0.1%.
And that's pretty teeny.
Yeah, but for people who know nothing about any of them, I think it's very important.
You do not know a goddamn thing about Africa. I am from Detroit, Motown. So you can want Tootsie your monkey ass back to Africa if you want to.
What's up, y'all? How y'all doing? Happy Educational Fridays. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Come on in, get the likes up on the video. If you are new to the channel, welcome, welcome, welcome. It's Educational Friday. Oh, my wig feels crooked. Hold on. Let me see. Hold on. Let me see if okay, I think it's a little better because at first it was kind of, you know, it's a wig. I got to make sure. But look, so what I was saying, if you're new to the channel, subscribe. If you're returning, welcome back. This is Educational Friday. What we do here is we don't sit around, but we go over some things that we were taught, some things that we weren't taught, and we learn things about them because the way in which we were taught everything we know is wrong. The school taught us all lies. So what we're here to do on Educational Friday is shift the wig of the lies and get to the truth. So welcome on in, come on in, get the likes up on the video. If you are new here, we love to have you, okay? Now this week, before we move into that, please make sure you guys, Black America included, more importantly than anybody, please do your genealogy. Please, 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 if you don't do anything, do your genealogy. You're going to need that for reparations and also for identity purposes. You got to do it. Do your genealogy, Black America. You need to know who you are. The only way to know that is through your genealogy. I can't tell you who you are. Nobody outside of you can tell you who you are. Your genealogy can answer that, and that is your first step to freedom. So please do your genealogy as well. Also, make sure you guys are tapping into your inner self so you can start to understand how this world is moving so that you can move accordingly, okay? So make sure you guys are tapping in, whether that's grounding, meditating, praying, or all three. Please, please, please tap in, tap in, tap in. What's up, Tulsa, Oklahoma? What's up? How y'all doing? Y'all get on in here. Happy Educational Friday. I wanted to talk to y'all today about something that I stumbled across. I stumbled across this Jack and Jill Society. Now, y'all might not know how this came about, but let me show you how it came about. So first of all, let's get into what it is. The Jack and Jill Society, Jack and Jill Society of America, or Jack and Jill of America is a thing. It's an African-American affluent secret society. You know, they be secret, hidden in plain sight. But basically, it's for mothers and daughters. And at the surface, it's just like, cool, like, that's dope. But you got to know when you're dealing with secret societies or you dealing with any of these groups that are like that, remember we're talking about, or we speak about a lot on my channel, not just on Educational Friday, but on my channel at all. I tell you guys about how the world is set up. You have the foreigners, and you have the clears, who are the foreigners, and you have the Negropeans and all these other people. And there's this one big joke. The big joke is on the masses of the Black Americans, right? So all of them are shaking hands behind the table to fool us, to screw us. Everybody's eating and gaining off of us. The only way that that is successful is if those people use some of our people to help them to do it. Well, they enlisted the help of our people, and those people are called or have fell into the bracket of the talented 10th. Okay? Now, who are the talented 10th? The talented 10th is ascribed to be the 10% of Black America who feels like it's more intelligent, and it basically makes the decision for the 90%. Now, this is the worst thing about this situation. It would be one thing if the 90% voted in 10% of our people and said, you know what? We're going to send you up there to be our representative because we know you're going to act on the best behalf of the people. That would be one thing, but that is not what's happening, and that is not what has happened. Rest in peace to the brother Steve Coakley. He spent a long portion of his life discussing this. The reason why this talented 10th is a problem is because this talented 10% hold a lot of secrets that could free the whole 90% of us. But they hold these secrets because it benefits them, and also because they work with the enemy. So when you're dealing with the Boule, the Freemasons, the Divine Nine, and all these organizations, and the Jack and Jill Society, who fall under the umbrella of these societies, then you have to know that if they are connected, then guess what? They are a part of that talented 10th. It doesn't matter if you go on Google and Google say, oh no, yeah, it's associated but not directly connected. It's all under the same umbrella. Okay? So the reason why I'm jumping in on this Jack and Jill Society was because I was watching Carlos King's interview, and he interviewed Sharice. I should have had this already pulled up, but I'm about to pull it up. So Carlos King interviewed Sharice from Real Housewives. Hold on. How you spell her name? How you spell Big Reese's name? Carlos King does this interview with Sharice from Real Housewives of Potomac. And basically they were talking about how she came up with the idea of the show. So a lot of y'all don't know this, and it's kind of going into pop culture. But ultimately, it's going to lead into Educational Friday, okay? Because this is how I found it. So, and this is them. So, Carlos King does this interview. Sharice, who's at the bottom of the screen, she was one of the first people to start Real Housewives of Potomac. Y'all know Real Housewives have franchises in all of the places, or a lot of places all over America. We got New York, we got Atlanta, we got Miami, all those places. But in Potomac, Sharice was one of the people who jumped out the window and started the whole bit off, right? So when she was talking about how they started this whole process of Real Housewives of Potomac, she also went into detail about how she chose the cast. And when she chose the cast, she also spoke about how she chose Giselle and she chose Karen. Now, before Karen came on and we knew Karen to who she is now, Charisse was known as the Grande Dame. Now, the Grande Dame, I guess like the biggest madam, not madam, but like the biggest mama, like that girl. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's this one right here. Like, I'm that girl. You know what I'm saying? And according to Charisse, long story short, she got played by Giselle and Karen because they ended up hooking up. But in the midst of them hooking up, they kicked her off the show. Now, this is the first thing that came to my mind. I said, oh, them light-skinned heifers done got together and kicked Charisse little nappy head behind off the show. That was my first original thought because it happens. Let's be honest. But then she mentioned the thing called Jack and Jill. And she said, she's like, listen, she was like, when I first met them, she was like, you have to understand, I brought them onto the show. She was like, but both she said both Giselle and Karen are Jack and Jill. She was like, but I am not Jack and Jill. Now, immediately my spidey senses went up because I'm like, what the hell is Jack and Jill? And then I'm putting two and two together. If Karen and Giselle are Jack and Jill and Charisse is not, but Karen and Giselle is still on the show and Charisse is not, then that tells me this Jack and Jill thing must be powerful. So then I went into the details and looking up what the hell is Jack and Jill, and I found out Jack and Jill is a secret society. They claim it's not related to Boule or Freemason, so since Google says that, I'm going to repeat it. However, what I'm telling you is, if it's under the umbrella, girl, it's raining everywhere else. Take it for what it's worth. Let me see if this is the clip where she mentions that they were Jack and Jill and she was not. Hold on.
I had the nicest home. Those girls didn't even have attorneys. I did their contracts. My attorneys did their contracts. Okay. Everything was in my home. Our photo shoot was in my house. The show, there was, you know how it is. First season shows, there's not a lot of money. So all these things, it seemed like, I think it looked like it was about me, and people decided, no, we're gonna make it about us. Karen and Giselle aligned and decided we're gonna erase Charisse. They created a whole new narrative, okay? And you probably don't know this, Carlos. Like, at one point, now imagine this. I'm like a self-appointed casting person for the show, okay? I'm setting up meetings in Starbucks, meeting people, because at first we were trying to make it Potomac people. And I told them from the door, I said, Potomac people are not going to do this show. They don't have to. You know what I'm saying? They're not. And so it got to a point, I'm interviewing these people, I'm having casting parties. It was fun for me, you know? And like I said, I called Giselle, Robin, I called everybody. I didn't call Ashley. Ashley, I didn't know Ashley, but everybody else on the cast was a result of me in some capacity, right? But then when you go to shoot the pilot, you come up with an idea to eliminate Charisse. They were trying to make it Jack and Jill. I'm the only one that's not Jack and Jill, okay? Giselle's Jack and Jill, Karen's Jack and Jill, Ashley wasn't Jack and Jill, but she had
Katie was on the
and they were trying to get Katie. They were recruiting Katie to get her kids involved in Jack and Jill. That was a storyline. However, and my thing is, how are we doing? I'm not a part of Jack and Jill. Like, how you come? That was the beginning of trying to exclude me from the from the group, you know.
So this is where my spidey senses started tingling, right? Why did my spidey senses start tingling? Because in my mind, I'm like, well, what the hell is Jack and Jill? Like, girl, what is that? Like, what is this Jack and Jill stuff? So then when I Googled it and I realized it was a form of secret society, my immediate thought was, oh, Boule. I ain't gonna lie, this before I looked up anything. And then I'm listening to her story. Sharice is saying, listen, I'm the one put the whole show together. I casted all the people. They filmed out my house because none of these girls had money. They didn't have nothing. Everything on that first pilot or going into that first pilot, I did it. But she mentioned the fact that Karen and Giselle and also Katie are Jack and Jill, and they moved and pushed her out. This is what those secret societies are about. Listen, if you are someone you know is a part of a Divine Nine organization, the Freemasons, or the Boule or anything, and they denounce what I'm saying, that's fine. I'm just about to tell you what reality is, okay? Now, the talented 10th's job is to keep the secret of your internal wealth, to keep you down at the bottom, to keep you poor, to keep you ignorant, and to keep you beneath them. Reason being is because this talented 10% gets a lot of kickback and a lot of good pats on the head, good girl, good boys, if they keep you at the 90%. Remember, the 90% is at the very, very bottom. Only the 10% is to rise to the top. Okay? Hear me out. So fast forward. So if the talented 10%'s job is to keep you at the bottom, then when we talking about Sharice, let's go back to Real Housewives of Potomac. When we talking about Sharice and these girls, mind you, Sharice is the one with the money at this time. They don't have nothing. However, they have an allegiance through Jack and Jill. Jack and Jill, being a part of the talented 10th, would have a very direct line to who? The production company, the clear people, the orange juice people. You get it? Because remember, under the table, these people are holding secrets from the 90% and they're shaking hands and making deals. So if the network was trying to go Jack and Jill, number one, they want to go Jack and Jill because these people are already groomed and ready to go. They know what to do, what not to do. They know what to say, what not to say. They know what secrets to already keep because they've already gone through whatever initiation. Mind you, Giselle is Divine Nine. I think she's AKA. So with that being said, so if it would make sense why Giselle and Karen, I'm saying, would band together to push Sharice out because even though she has the money, she is not a part of that talented 10%. You belong in the 90%. So with that being said, we're going to push you out and keep this about us, this Jack and Jill 10% type of deal, because we already aligned on what we need to do. And we don't need you in here listening to some stuff because you might hear something 90% and go back and tell the rest of the 90%. You got to get sworn in. You got to get this, that, and the third. You get it? So, okay. Now that that's over with, this is how we get to the Jack and Jill Society or the Jack and Jill Society of America. I'm sorry, I feel like I got something in my eye. This is how we get to this Jack and Jill Society of America or whatever the bit is. Let's pull it up. Sorry, y'all. Y'all get the likes up on the video. Please and thank you. Now, whenever I go look at organizations, I gotta go see who these people is. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's really tea? You know? So, hold on, let me pull up this first article. I think it was this one, the one.org that I wanted to use. So I want to show you guys, or should I go with the wiki first? Yeah, let's pull up wiki first so they can lie to us first. And then after we pull up Wikipedia that is, then we'll go into further detail. Oh, I wasn't ready for this. Oh, sorry. Yeesh. I think, yeah, here go wiki right here. So now first of all, what is the Jack and Jill Society of America, right? Now, it's crazy because there's no word black. There's none of that. No words to identify this being a black or a white organization. Now, that wasn't the craziest part, right? Well, it kind of stuck out to me because typically, especially back in the 1900s, they loved letting you know what's black and what's white. So I was curious as to why this never had Black society, you know, or African American society in its title, at least. So if we go on into the Jack and Jill beginnings, here's the founder, because I obviously want to know who founded it, and her name is Marion Stubbs Thomas. Now, before we get into this, let me just say this. I want to give out this disclaimer. I am not saying anything that I'm going to say after this disclaimer is a way to divide, be racist, or anything. Everything that I'm saying is solely and strictly for educational purposes only, okay? This is in no way, shape to offend nobody, to make nobody feel no type of way. I'm just here to give you the facts, okay? Now, here is Marion Stubbs Turner. She is the person who founded the Jack and Jill of America. Now, the first thing stuck out to me was Marion looks racially ambiguous. What do I mean by racially ambiguous? She don't look like a nigga. She look like she got some nigga in her, but she don't look like no nigga. She look maybe biracial, maybe quadroon, octoroon, and that's just mixed with 3, 4 races, 8 races, you know, and so on and so forth, you know. But black, no. But back in those days, it wasn't about what you were, it was about what they labeled you. So hit her up with African American, and boom, now she African American. When I went to look up her parents, and we're going to get into that, they look like two clear people, but you know they like to blur the picture out so you can hardly see, you can hardly find information and all of that. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to get to it, but this is Marion Stubbs Turner. She is the woman who decided to start the Jack and Jill of America. It said it was founded in 1938 by Marion Stubbs Thomas. I said Turner? Thomas, I'm sorry. Marion Stubbs Thomas in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, as a way to bring together African American children in a social and cultural environment. Recognizing the need for a space where children could grow, learn, and thrive amidst the racial barriers of the time, Thomas and 20 other mothers organized activities and events that fostered leadership, cultural pride, and community service. The organization quickly grew, expanding its reach to cities around the United States, and became a pioneering force in supporting the development of Black youth. Let's read a little bit more. Throughout its history, Jack and Jill of America has been committed to nurturing the next generation of African American leaders. So now this is a big thing. I want to stop right here. They are generating the next generation of African American leaders. That means they're already getting the children young and they're grooming them. This is not a bad thing if you're getting them to groom to help the people, but if you're grooming them to only follow the 10% and keep the 90% down, here is where the problem lies. What are you grooming them to do? Mind you, Google will tell you this is not Boule, so I'm going to tell you that this is not a Boule system, and I'm also tell you it's not a Freemason system because Google says it. However, these people are under the same umbrella. So if y'all under the same umbrella, I'm assuming that y'all probably have the same mindset and the same goals. So now y'all are taking the children, and remind you, average Joe Schmo off the street, you can't walk in with your kid talking about, I want a germ. So what are you grooming the children to do? I assume and I believe that these children are being groomed to maintain that 10% and keep its foot on the 90% neck. Okay? Now, we're going to get into Marion because I won't get to her. Hold on. The organization focuses on programming that emphasizes education, cultural awareness, civic engagement, and leadership development. By creating opportunities for children and teens to engage in activities that promote personal growth and social responsibility, Jack and Jill has helped countless young people gain the confidence and skills needed to succeed in various fields. The organization work is guided by the belief that every child, if given the opportunity, can achieve greatness. You know, one of the things I went and looked up when I was trying to figure out this Jack and Jill Society, what I found is it's a precursor to the Divine Nine. I'm not saying everybody that grew up in Jack and Jill goes Divine Nine, But I will say a lot of people in Divine Nine was Jack and Jill. You see what I'm saying? Does that make sense? So it's almost like the Jack and Jill Society, which makes sense because the Divine Nine is definitely under the Boulay umbrella. So there's not even a debate behind that. So my thing is giving that this organization under that same umbrella is going to follow the same path. I lost my thought. Where was I going with this? What was I saying? Jack and Jill Society. It'll come back to me. But upon seeing this, immediately a lot of red flags came up to me because I really feeling like, okay, well, wait a minute. Y'all grooming the children, precursor to the Divine Nine. That's where I was going with this. Y'all grooming these children to get into the Divine Nine. And we know once the Divine Nine, once they get there and they get into the medical field, the engineering field, the law field, they gatekeep down to the ground. If you think I'm lying, next time you go to the doctor and you see a black doctor, I don't care if it's a male or female, ask them if they are a part of any Divine Nine organization. 8 out of 10 times, they're going to say yay. If 8 out of 10 times they saying yay, that's a red flag. Because what you mean? Ain't no regular people couldn't come up in here. Everybody that went through D9 as a doctor, it wasn't hardly no regular people, huh? That's the job of this group, to gatekeep, to keep you down here at the 90% so that they can maintain the 10%. And remember, behind the scenes and under the tables, they are shaking hands with the enemy. This is why the people say all skin folk ain't kinfolk, and sometimes your kinfolk ain't even your kinfolk. Because what you're going to have to realize is once you understand who your enemy is, you're going to understand that sometimes your enemy is you. It is the people who are of you. And you're going to have to be okay with knowing that. You can't turn away and go into your emotions like, well, they black, or are they black American? I can't believe. You're going to get screwed every time. This is how they've been able to walk amongst us in plain sight for all this time, because they're banking on you relying on your emotions to not use your logic. The fact of the matter is, it's some of our own people that's helping them. It's not a lot. There's a small portion of our own people that is helping all these enemies maintain the foot on our necks, okay? Now, before we get into Marion, matter of fact, let's just go to Marion. So I went to Wiki to find out about her, right? So here's what I found. Marion Turner Stubbs, January 18th, 1910, March 25, 1994 is when she died. She was an African-American concert pianist and club woman. She established Jack and Jill of America in 1938 and was also active in the Gay Northeasterners. Now, let me just say this. This is no shade. Shout out to the LGBTQ community. But that was another co-op situation. During the early 1900s, especially during the Harlem Renaissance and also during the Great Depression, the gays and the LGBTQs, not the good ones, the bad ones, they was out here wrecking shop all over Black America. I believe that the government made a lot of them spies. I believe that they were around there. They the ones help what's her name? Madam C.J. Walker's daughter go broke. Listen, battle with your mom. I'm just giving y'all the tea. You feel what I'm saying? So, with that being said, when you get to talking about these gay Northeasterners, and I don't know if they mean loose-wristed gay, but I'm just saying that's a red flag to me. That's a red flag because I know during that time they were co-opting the LGBTQ movement before it was called that. They were co-opting the gay movement to do a lot of crap. They just did it with the LGBTQ recently. Y'all remember that? They just used Beyonce took a turn on the LGBTQ. All the Democratic Party took a turn on the LGBTQ. They did it to us, to Black America, with the whole Black Lives Matter thing. Everybody get a turn. So I just know what was happening through the gay movement around that time. And it was a lot of messed up stuff that was happening. And a lot of them people were spies. Okay? Let's get into her early life a little bit. It says Marion Virginia Turner was born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania on January 18, 1910. Her parents were Marion C. and John Patrick Turner, a surgeon and the first Black member of the Philadelphia Board of Education. Turner had an upper-class childhood and was a socialite. Now, let's pause, because I went to go find her parents, right? Because I'm like, girl, I need to go see these people. Let me go get them. Hold on, let me go back. Oh, let's get a bit in her daddy. It says he was born in 1895, November 1st, died in 1958. He was an African-American physician, surgeon, hospital administrator, and educator in Philadelphia. It says he was chief of surgical department and staff of president of Frederick Douglass Memorial Hospital and Training School. Later, Mercy Douglas Hospital in Philadelphia. Turner was the first Black member of the Philadelphia Board of Education, serving in that capacity for 35 years. He was also the medical inspector of the Philadelphia Public Schools for 19 years. So her father had pull in the streets. He was one of those people who had a way. Now, let me tell you something about every city across the globe. This is every city across the globe. I'm going to tell you right now. A lot of family names is the reason why certain people stay in positions of power. I can't go off no other city. I'm going to go off New Orleans. They got this last name called the Mercadales. Actually, in some kind of way, most people in New Orleans kin some kind of way to the Mercadales. But the original, that original clan of the Mercadales, they've been running New Orleans politics for over 100 years. Listen, and this is the worst part, because they marrying into other people, they changing last names. You would never know that these people are literally just inheriting certain positions. Go and check out the mayors in your town, the governors in your town. If you follow their genealogy, you see they were basically handed this shit. You see what I'm saying? So listen. So what was I going with that? Oh, yeah. So, oh man, I lost my thought. I hate when I do that. What was I talking about? Let me look at the picture. Marion C. Thomas and her daddy. Oh, yeah. Bloodline. What you guys don't understand is, because this is something hidden in plain sight. A lot of the people that are the sheriffs, not necessarily now, because they've been having a lot of foreigners come in and out. But a lot of the people that's run your town, their families been running your town. Been. So to say that her dad had all that position tells me that her daddy come from somebody in somewhere to where they would even give him this type of position. Because who is this quote unquote African American man? You see what I'm saying? Who has all of this position? Hold on, let me see if this is the picture of the daddy. Because I did find one picture of the mom and the daddy. 1 second. Hold on. And it's so blurred, you could barely see. It's weird, to say the least. Yeah. It's weird, to say the least. Let's just go with that. Let me see what. Here they go. Well, this, no. Hold on. Because I want to keep this up too. Matter of fact, I might put this. No, hold on. Y'all give me 1 second. I just got to find where I put the picture. I literally just had it. Or maybe it's in this. It could be in here. Let me see if it's in this wiki. Because it was in one of these articles. I did find her parents, and it was a very blurry picture, but you can tell even through the blur, them people was clear. Let me see. Now, I want to say this is her father. And she married almost racially ambiguous, spouse as well, but he was a little on the lighter skin side. Where is her? Hold on, let me go here. I'm so mad if I can't pull this picture up because I have it. I'm gonna be so mad if I don't have this picture. I literally had it on my phone. Hold on. And you know what I do have though? Hold on, let me go get her. I went into I found her ancestry. Oh, you know what? I might do have it. Let me scroll up. My bad. I do have her Find a Grave, and y'all can use Find a Grave as well for your genealogy. Remember, I be telling y'all how to find a grave. I'm about to show you how to do it because this is part of looking at her genealogy. Look, now this is on Find a Grave. This is her headstone. So this is wherever it's pictured, either her family or the cemetery took a picture and uploaded it with all this information. So here's her headstone. That's her birth date, death date, burial plot, blah, 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 blah. She's on the Abraham Lincoln plot or whatever the case may be. If you scroll down, you'll see family members, right? You see her mama, that's her parents. That's her mama, that's her daddy. That's her spouse. So her father's name is John Patrick Turner. Her mother's name is Marion C. Turner. Her spouse's name is Frederick Douglass Turner. If she had kids or siblings, all of that'll be right there. So that's for anybody out here who, when I be saying y'all can go on Find a Grave to find your people. If you know who died, let's say you on your this is a side note. Let's say you on your census and you see a person and you know that they died in 1936 in New Orleans. If you go on Find a Grave and you put that name in and they pull up that grave site, whoever was putting that information that was related to them is going to come up as well. You never know. You might go find that person's parents, that person's children, that person's siblings. Does that make sense? So this is how Find a Grave can also, my email is voodoodollpodcast@gmail.com. voodoodollpodcast@gmail.com. Thank you, His Wonder Woman. But no, look. This is a way that you can use this tool for your genealogy because it will list the other people. Now, I want to pull up her daddy. Now, here's a picture of the daddy's, what do you call it? His headstone. And this is his obituary and his children. Obviously, it only lists Marion. So I'm assuming that they only had one kid. I'm assuming she was the only child. Sorry, y'all. I'm assuming she was the only child. Let me see. 1 second. Oh, no, I'm already on here. I was just checking some other stuff. But I'm assuming she was the only child because basically that's the only one listed. And that would really be all that you can go by because basically whatever was in the obituary and whatever the cemetery has, that's typically the information that you're going to see. Now, once somebody sent me this picture, because I'm going to show you the picture, her parents, once we get into that, but her parents look very white. Nothing about her parents look black. And as a matter of fact, you got to be careful with these black and white photos because they were very good with making sure them pixels in that picture was pixelated just enough to where it looked like what it could be. And you can't see the hair texture that well. And they did like cosplaying even back then. They didn't have no problems with fixing up your hair to look like a black woman's because they knew that we were under the slavery mindset of the 1 drop rule. What was that? 1 drop of black blood make you blood. And that's not true. Because under that rule, they used all them biracials and all them octoroons and quadroons to screw you. But that's a whole nother story. So I'm going to wait on the picture, though, because I thought I had it. I swear I thought I had it. I don't know what in the world I did with it. But her parents look very, very racially ambiguous, okay? So I want to go back down to a little bit more of her early life. So her father was this big-time surgeon this big time person at the school board. So that also tells me that her daddy was probably into either Freemasonry or Boule. And let's be clear, the founders, the original founders of the Boule came out of where? Pennsylvania. I want to say, yeah, Pennsylvania, Philly, Sigma Pi Phi. So he probably rubbed shoulders with W.E.B. Du Bois in them. You see what I'm saying? So all these things take into play. They're not going to tell you this because they don't want you to connect those dots. But if you know what happened during that time and you know what was going on, then you would have to say, well, damn, your daddy was popping when W.E.B. was popping. And you was a big-time surgeon, big-time school board director and all of that. I know you was cool with them niggas. You had to be running with them niggas. Because the only people who was running shit was the niggas who was running with them. You get it? All right. Thank you, his Wonder Woman. Thank you so much. Let me pull it up. Here we go. Yeah, I don't know if this is the one I had, but this is a good picture. Now, this is Adam Clayton Powell on this photo. This looked like Adam Clayton Powell. Is this Marion C. Turner? C. Stubbs, I'm sorry. Let me see. And this one is super dark. I had one lighter than this. But you see how they very strategic on even the stuff that they show you? Because they don't want you to connect these dots. Let me tell y'all something. Y'all got to be very, very careful. Very, very careful with what this history stuff and what Google will spit out to you. Okay? Because Google love to give you what they want you to see. Them AIs and all that stuff is trained to give you what the people who programmed them, want you to hear. And at the end of the day, that girl parents look damn near white, if not all the way white. One of them is almost white, and the other one damn is already white. It's something like that. It's some weird stuff, you know? And whenever you have to ask a lot of questions around somebody's history, that tells you everything you need to know. So now her people had money. Obviously, she didn't come from no broke ass niggas because her daddy was over the school board and the surgeon and all that. It says she attended the Juilliard School and spent a year at Sorbonne University in Paris. She planned on studying with Igor Stravinsky, but instead married. It says she then attended Zecher Hahn Philadelphia Musical Academy, receiving a music degree. She was the first African American to graduate from the academy. I believe her daddy paid for that education. She was a concert pianist during the 1930s. At her debut recital on April 22nd, 1931, the Philadelphia Inquirer wrote that she played an exacting and diversified program with much technical skill and excellent tone. She also taught piano in Bordentown, New Jersey. In the 1970s, she worked as an equal employment opportunity counselor for the Fair Housing Commission of the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development. So she worked for the project. But I found this whole Marion C. Turner situation and this whole Jack and Jill Society situation. I'm like, well, wait a minute. Something in the milk ain't clean about this, because why is these people so public but yet unknown? You know what I mean? I had never heard anything of Jack and Jill until Sharice from Real Housewives of Potomac said Karen and Giselle are Jack and Jill, and I'm not. And what do we know about Karen and Giselle phenotypically? They are light-skinned girls coming up. We call them Passon Blonde in New Orleans. Some people even say Passe Blonde, white passing. That's them light-skinned girls. You know what I'm talking about. No shade. Beautiful girls. That be them girls come up Catholic schools. You know, they typically, y'all know what I'm talking about. So it also seems like sort of a look to it, which makes sense because at one point the Divine Nine was the same way. Okay. She had everything she wanted at the palm of her hands. It's given to me, your daddy paid for their education. I'm not saying you wasn't a good piano player, but it's given, girl, they put 20 on 10 because who your daddy was. I got to say that part. Because you got to keep in mind, her reputation affects her daddy's reputation. So when they writing this stuff up, money talk, bullshit walk. It wasn't no TV. So when they writing this stuff up, it's got to look good. This is my child. Okay? This is mine. And if I'm going to be prestigious amongst my people and look like I'm here, even if it's a lie, I got to make my child look like this. It's the same way we see in politics. We didn't know Joe Biden's son was a crackhead. I know, at least I didn't know until Trump told us. I said, well, I'll be damned. I had no clue the president's son was on that pipe. But again, because they present them away, we don't assume and we don't go digging. It took for somebody to say it. I think that that's kind of what's going on here. Also, I believe being the daughter of somebody who was probably connected to a secret society, it was probably ordained for her to start this secret society because this feeds the greater good of the talented 10th as a whole. This is an actual gateway from little bitty childhood to get them groomed from little. So by the time they get through the D9 organization, they pass groomed. They ready to run a whole damn organization them damn selves. Think about it. Most people join the Divine Nine organization when they see them in high school or when they get on their first college campus. But could you imagine if you've been groomed for this D9 shit since you was 5, 6, 7, 8? By the time you 25 and you coming out of college with your bachelor's and your master's and you done this shit for 8 years, 10 years, 16, 20 years, man, you like master on top of masters. So you're not going to tell me that she just randomly one day sat home and was like, you know what? I'm bored. Let's create a society where we just groom our kids to be better kids. And then these kids just coincidentally so happen to be directly connected to the Divine Nine. Stop the cap. Stop the cap. I'm not going for it. Let's get a little bit into I want to read y'all this. Now remember, the biggest misconception is in the South, during the Great Depression, and in the South, before the 1900s, and even during the early 1900s, the biggest misconception is that the people in the South were black. If you were black, you were poor. And if you were white, you were rich. That's the hugest lie ever told. The fact of the matter is the South has been and always will be mostly comprised of Black Americans. This is where the bulk of us have always lived and always will live. White America didn't start pouring into America in droves until the late 1800s, early 1900s. Prior to that, Black Americans ran the Republican Party. We ran all our own stuff. Yes, there were Black slave owners, and yes, they were Black, and yes, they owned slaves. Why? Not because they were horrible people. Well, some of them were, but a lot of them were because it was a job. It was the life. It was the way of life in the South. The only reason you think the way you think is because you've been indoctrinated by TV and movies and education. So what I found in my educational studies is Black America was not doing nowhere near as bad as the whites were doing during the Great Depression because economically, we were already independent. So when America went through its Great Depression, our dollars circulated within our own communities. It didn't affect us by the way it affects them. See, this is one of the main reasons why they had to get that Jim Crow crap popping off in the late 1800s all the way up to the 1950s because they needed to take this wealth from these niggas because they too independent. Okay? So what they did, I'm telling you what they did. Through Jim Crow and through all these other things, they siphoned the wealth and the economic freedom from us day by day, by day, by day, by day. The big cap, the big finisher was us at the mountaintop with Martin Luther King singing, "We shall overcome." That was the big cap finisher. That was the icing on the cake. That was the cross to dot the T or the I to the dot to dot the I. That's what that was. Okay? That was the last stronghold to pull the biggest portion of our economic freedom away. But what I've learned through the studies is Black America was not doing nowhere near as bad as they make us believe. Okay? So this talks about what was going on a little bit with Jack and Jill and all of this stuff around this time, right? It says during the Great Depression in the 1930s, segregation was pervasive in the United States. The system allowed for separate but equal accommodations for African Americans. Under this policy, African Americans were barred from social and cultural activities that integrated them with white people, even in the North. Newsflash, niggas ain't want to go up there. Let me tell y'all something. I'm going to tell y'all the real guys honest truth. All that y'all seen black people getting torn away at the counters, getting water sprayed on them, getting bit by the dogs and all of that, a lot of that was staged. Hear me out. I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm not saying it wasn't real. What I'm telling you is there were actors mixed in with real characters. But even the real characters were children. It was children. It wasn't grown folks, mostly children. Okay? It's just like they did with the George Floyd riots. Remember how they dropped the bricks off in the middle of the street, hoping that niggas are seeing and just go start tearing shit up? That's the same thing they did during this situation. The reality of it is this. Black America was not knocking down the doors to be in white people's shit. But through propaganda, through the television, who just so happened to be popular around this time, are y'all tracking? The television is just beginning to be popular around this time. Everybody in their mom got a TV now. Through now, everybody having a TV, here comes the first big thing you see is a civil rights movement, people getting bit by dogs, people getting hit by water hoses. Boom. All of a sudden, the propaganda is pushed out to the people as something that's happening that's really not. So when I say it's staged, I'm not saying that the events that took place didn't happen. What I'm saying is the way in which you believe it happened is not the truth. Okay? All right. So they basically tricked us on the inside, in our mind, to think we were in a subservient position when we were not. Now, I'm not saying Black America was all doing well. There were a portion of us that were not doing well. But what I'm telling you is they tricked us all. So much so in 2025, people who have lineages who's never touched slavery are somehow traumatized by it. That's the Jedi mind trick. That's the mental slavery. Okay? So, let me scroll down. All right, hold on. Where's the cursor? I can't see crap. Now, these two, it says Mrs. Jackson Ditch Club became reality when she and her friend, Mrs. Marion Stubbs Thomas, along with 18 local Philadelphia mothers, organized the first chapter of Jack and Jill on January 24, 1938, with the purpose of providing social, cultural, and educational opportunities for African American families. Mrs. Stubbs Thomas is considered the founding mother of Jack and Jill. She said of establishing the organization, "To we as mothers, Jack and Jill is a means of furthering an inherited and natural desire to bestow upon our children all of the opportunities possible for a normal and graceful approach to a beautiful adulthood." My question is, I don't see nothing wrong with the mission statement. I think that is beautiful. Why isn't this extended to all of the children? I'll tell you why. Because they need 10% of their children to keep their boots on 90% of your children's neck. That's why it's a secret society. You get it? Yeah, it's a precursor to the Divine Nine and all of that stuff. Let me show y'all so they do like debutantes, and it's crazy because my sister, I have a sister from my father, but we have different mothers, so she's much older. My sister came up in that whole debutante secret society. Like, she used to do debutante balls. Like, my sister had a sweet 16. I'm sorry. Like, my sister had a sweet 16. Like, she did all of that stuff, you know. And my daddy, his side of the family, they come from that. Because my daddy's side of the family come from affluent Black people in that part of the town. Because, again, It is about lineage. It's about bloodline. If you don't know, you wouldn't even know that your lineage was cut off from whatever inheritance it could be in your own city. You wouldn't know because you don't know who you are. This is why genealogy is extremely important, brothers and sisters. Please do your genealogy, okay? Because that's that. I'm telling you, man, you'll be surprised at stuff you unlock. Okay? So now look. Where is it? Is it here? Oh, no. Oh. I'm sorry, I just pulled this up. They have debutante balls, and my sister used to do it. And I used to always, now I'm a girl's girl. I'm a girl, not a girl's girl. I am the biggest girly girl there is. Like when I was growing up, I loved pink, purple, everything. Pink, 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 pink. I was diamonds, rhinestones, nails. I've always been a very feminine girl. I've always been a girl into fairy tales. I love Cinderella, you know, stuff like that. So when I would see my sister partake in the debutante balls, I kind of was conflicted because part of me was like, dang, I wish I could do it. But then the other part of me was like, they bougie. Like, you know what I mean? I'm a hood girl. Like these girls were, yes, no ma'am, no sir, curtsy. You know what I'm saying? And I think that is dope. But personality-wise, I didn't too much mesh. It was the same thing with the Divine Nine organization. I remember when I first got to college, me and two of my friends, I went to the AKA's table and I went to the Delta table. And I knew they were polar opposites and I still didn't fit in none. Not even none in between. It's hard for me to go in a group and hide. Because I'm a loud bitch. You know what I'm saying? That's just how it is. But let's get into a little bit of what they put out there to us. Now, remember this. Before we get into this video, they don't want us to know that they're the 10% keeping the 90% down. So when they tell us about their organization, they're going to highlight all of the great things. Like, oh, we help society. We help the community. We give out turkeys. We have debutante balls. We do picnics. They're going to tell you all of that because they don't want you to dig into what's really going on. So let's get into a little bit of this little newscast.
Of the achievements of local teenagers at the Jack and Jill presentation ball at the Omni William Penn Hotel. It's a signature fundraising event for the Pittsburgh chapter of Jack and Jill of America, an African-American mothers organization. It also benefits the Josh Gibson Foundation. The ball honors the academic, athletic, and extracurricular accomplishments of junior and senior high school students across the city. It also gives the teenagers a chance to celebrate their hard work and full regal attire.
These kids have been so diligent. They've been doing this all year long. All year. So we have such an amazing group at 16 presentees, which is one of the largest groups we've had in a very long time. And they love each other. They consider themselves brothers and sisters. So we are just over the moon that they just connected so well.
The Pittsburgh chapter has been hosting this ball since 1982. For more information on how you can get involved, you can check out the link over on kdka.com.
So, all right, hold on.
Imagine being able to.
Yeesh. So, all right, y'all just saw this, right? This is the Jack and Jill. This is the cute part. This is the part they want you to believe is all good, right? But I'm telling you now, it ain't. They want you to think, oh, it's just cute for the kids. That, you know, it makes them get camaraderie. And they gonna be, girl, you looking at the future doctors, lawyers, and Indian chiefs. Mayors, they in there. This your future mayors, doctors, lawyers, police chiefs. Because listen, these children, they don't groom these children from little for nothing. So if all goes well and according to plan, this your future judges. Yay! And they're going to play it off to us as if we're choosing them. But the fact of the matter is they grandfathered in through their secret society. That's part of, politicians. Thank you, Anthony. They're your future politicians. Aldermen. All of that. That's who it is. That's who it is. And this is part of their reward for keeping you dumb and keeping you stupid and keeping you ignorant. They remain part of, they get to live their heaven on earth here. What do I mean by they get to live their heaven on earth here? Meaning They get to be rich on earth in this life. They get to go to the best schools. They get to have the best tutors. They get to have all the best. They marry good. They eat good. They give birth good. They live extremely well. And this is a generational thing. Generationally, your whole bloodline gonna be straight. So think about it. I'm not a selfish person, but I can understand the mind of someone who's selfish. If somebody came to me and said, look, Vu, if you do X, Y, and Z, I'm gonna make sure not only you good, your kids good, your kids is good, your kids good is good. I ain't gonna lie. After about the second, third generation, I'm like, shit, sign me up. Sign me up. Because it makes sense for me. You see what I'm saying? So this is why these people keep these secrets, because it benefits them by and large. You know what I'm saying? Let's go here. Oh, no, before we do that, this brother was talking about how he was a part of his wife was a part of the Jack and Jill Society, but he ended up denouncing, and they ended up denouncing and renouncing, because he understood and he realized that it was all a part of this Freemasonry boule stuff. Now, I guess him and his wife used to be, I'm assuming, I guess they used to be in the D9 stuff, and I guess through finding God and, going through religion and stuff, I want to get the name of his channel. I guess through finding God and going through religion and stuff, they started denouncing a lot of societies that they were a part of. His name is Tommy Arbuckle Ministries. Tommy Arbuckle Ministries. So him and his wife are going through stuff, and he talks about the Jack and Jill, and he says that his wife is a part of the Jack and Jill. Now, he's going to tell you how he got a whisper from God, or his higher self. He calls it God. He got a whisper from God to look into this Jack and Jill stuff, and how it led him to him and his wife renouncing, because he's able to connect the dots that this Jack and Jill shit is really just a junior of the boule. It's a boule junior is all it is. Let's get into it, y'all. Get the likes up on the video. Shout out to y'all in the building. Like the video so we can get it in the algorithm.
With the Omega Psi Phi fraternity, as well as the Prince Hall affiliation of Freemasonry. And I'm doing this video regarding my family's and I involvement and some subsequent denouncement and renouncement regarding the Jack and Jill of America organization. And what I will say about this organization is this. Jack and Jill of America is just like many of the other, what I call offsprings or derivative organizations of Freemasonry. You will find the same ungodly traits that are in Freemasonry inside of this organization, as well as others that are like it. And some of those things are, you're going to see that they've got some kind of an altar. They've got some kind of a prayer. They've got some ritual, some memorial service for a deceased member. These are all traits of a religion, you guys, not a social service organization. I did do a video a little while back called Social Service or Idolatry, 5 Things to Look Out For. If you have not seen that video, I highly suggest you go watch it. Matter of fact, I'll make sure I put the link down in the body of this particular video for you to go and take a look at that. Now, in the book of Revelations, chapter 12, verse 11, it says this. It mentions that we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of our testimony. Now, we all know the Lamb to be the Son of God, Jesus the Christ, who God sent into the world to die on the cross for all of our sins, for all of us that would believe in him. But as it relates to our testimony is so relevant as it gives credence to the message of Jesus being the Christ, our Savior. And unless we share our testimony, many people, they can't relate. And they could still be lost, having no confidence in the word. Now, without our testimony, and indeed the testimonies that are in the sacred scriptures, all of us would be lost. The fact that we can read those testimonies that are in the Bible and experience similar things in our lives that we've...
That part. And I got to fast forward him anyway, but this the part right here. You know why? Because when people realize that the church and them organization that they're renouncing are all one and the same, it is going to literally change their lives. When those people wake up to that, they will never be the same. Because you got to remember, these people believe that they're finding safety in the church, not because of the building, not even because of the people. They believe that God lies at the church. So remember, in their minds, I'm running from the devil and running to God. What's God? The church. Not understanding that the devil in the church worse than the one you ran from. And this how you know that one worse, because you can't even recognize him when he's standing in your face. So shout out to the people denouncing and renouncing. They deny stuff. I'm noticing most of the people who denounce and renounce go straight to the church. I think that that's dope. I would rather y'all run to the church than to run to that. But let me just say this. If you are to awaken to what's really happening, you're going to run farther. You're going to run faster away from the church than you ran from the Divine Nine. You see what I'm saying? Once the light bulb go off, you're going to run faster away from the church than you ran from whatever organization you just ran from. I swear to God. And sometimes God will put you in church and show you the demon so you can see it out your own eyes. But because in your mind, you believe that this is the Lord's house and this is God, you don't believe that it's possible. But that's God literally showing you inside this building that where you think I live, it's nothing but demons all around you. Look. That's what God will show you. Everybody won't get that message. Some will get enough to lead the Divine Nine and some will be fine at church. But for the ones who do get that message, they'll never be the same. Let me fast forward a little bit.
I would get in my prayer posture and just kind of get still and quiet and ask God, is there anything that he wants to say to me? And he said these words, Jack and Jill. And I was like, okay, Jack and Jill. So I did what any person would do is I pulled up my Google and typed in the word Jack and Jill. And, just kind of was scouring and looking. And eventually I got to the Jack and Jill of America organization. And I looked around on the website, didn't really see much. And I was like, okay, well, maybe I just studied it and leave it alone. And well, a few days later, he woke me up again. And he says the exact same words, Jack and Jill. I was like, okay, what do you want me to do about Jack? He says, you need to look further. I said, okay, all right. So anyway, I again scoured the internet as much as I could. Couldn't find anything on it. And then the next morning, I asked my wife, I said, hey, you guys are in the Jack and Jill of America organization, aren't you? She's like, yeah. I said, okay. I said, hey, is by chance, like, what's up with the organization? Do you guys do any like rituals or oaths or anything? And she's like, yeah. I said, okay. I said, is there a ritual book or something? She's like, yeah. I was like, can you go get it for me so I can see it? And you guys, like I said, I wish I could make this stuff up, but as soon as I started opening up that book, I found the exact same stuff that I saw in the Omega's ritual book, in the Delta's ritual book, in the AKA's ritual book, in the Masonic ritual book, same stuff. It had its own altar. It's got its own hymn. It's got its own prayer. It's got a bunch of what I call ritualistic stuff that you have to do. And it's got its own memorial service that you do for deceased members. And I'm like, oh God, thank you. Thank you.
Now, mind you, the Jack and Jill Society is supposed to be for the kids. These is for the babies. You're supposed to put your babies in there as little bitty, and they're supposed to grow up under the society. Why in the entire F do they have rituals, books? Why? Why do they have this? Because it's grooming. Now remember, you a regular person coming off the streets. I've never taken the oath like that at the D9, but I'm pretty sure the first time you took an oath with the D9 organization as a regular person off the street, it was probably kind of weird, like, whoa, because you've never held your hand up and swore to nothing before. However, if you coming up through through Jack and Jill, hell, by the time you get to D9, you an expert. You could tell them. You could swear them up then. So the fact that he was able to uncover that they had the exact same rituals, the exact same books, the exact same everything as all these Divine Nine organizations. Number one, it tells me systematically, remember we speak about systems, systematically, this is the way it was designed. The way it is at the top, remember I told you shit rolls downhill? The way it is at the top is the way it is at the bottom. So if this is the organization in Jack and Jill, then that's definitely the systematic, for the most part, organization at the tippy top of the boule, or whoever's above them, okay? So it's crazy he found all that.
For showing this to me. In fact, matter of fact, I'll post some of the pictures from the ritual book in the body of this particular video, but as I started looking over it, man, it's the same stuff. I mean, you're lighting candles in the spirit of Jack and Jill, you know, like this. I really hate it because, you know, the enemy, the devil, really has done a phenomenal job, you guys, disguising himself and utilizing things that you and I want to, you know, better ourselves, do civic things, but he's put in this on the front end of it, you know, idolatrous things that you got to do in order to do that, which is horrible, right? So the Song of Solomon, chapter 2, verse 15, has a verse in it, and it says this. It says, take.
When this brother, let me give you his name. Somebody asked for his name again because I want to move on. His channel name is Tommy Arbuckle Ministries. Tommy Arbuckle Ministries. He got a small channel too, so y'all go over there and check him out. This video is 2 years old though. So, but yeah, his name is Tommy Arbuckle Ministries. His what do you call it? His testimony about what he found when it came to this. And remember, Google and all these places are going to tell you that the Jack and Jill Society is not Freemason and it's not Boule. It ain't going to tell you it's not associated. It's just going to tell you we not them and they not us. But if that's the case, why are y'all doing the exact same things that they are doing? If you are not Boule and you're not Freemasons, then why are y'all using Freemason rituals? Come on, man. Come on, man. Listen. Like I say, I ain't judging nobody. I'm just giving y'all the information. And I'm asking y'all to use your common sense. None of this stuff is rocket science. This shit is really tic-tac-toe. It ain't even checkers. This is literal tic-tac-toe. You got a racially ambiguous woman who looks to be black, come from a very affluent family whose parents look to be white. Okay? Now, all of a sudden, she's an only child. She's prestigious all over America. She creates a society that is a great, no, not great. That is an original pipeline straight up to the boule. You're not going to tell me that this was random. Not only did she create this pipeline called the Jack and Jill Society, they have the same rituals, allegedly. They have the same rituals, the same books, the same deities, all of that stuff the same as the Divine Nine organization. But again, you want me to believe that there's association, but they're not together. Spiritual warfare is big. It's different. One thing I learned when I watch celebrities, they all talk about how their parents, or they knew from an early age, how they understood spiritual warfare. The reason why most of us walking around here jacked up is because we don't. These secret societies are what do you call them? Motherboards or nucleuses for spiritual warfare against us, the 90%. Because remember, in their minds, they probably think, well, they're not dying per se. So yeah, if they live a little rougher, it's cool. But at least my bloodline, my lineage is going to do well. We're going to be okay. And when you're selfishly thinking, it makes all sense in the world. But during that, they're practicing a crap ton of spiritual warfare amongst the 90%. And because we are ignorant, we have no clue. We have zero clue. I want to show y'all a video about the society. Here's part one. They say it's part one of it's called Tell Them We're Still Rising. And this is about the Jack and Jill Society At the time of this video, they're celebrating 85 years. And this is from the Jack and Jill Society page themselves. So this ain't from me. And this is their point of view and their perspective. So this is what they're putting out to us. Let's be clear. Let's really be clear. Remember, they not going to straight up tell you, oh yeah, we the 10% that's running the other 90%. They would never tell you that. But you would have to look with your own eyes and use your own common sense to pay attention. Next time you out and about and you're at any major system, I don't give a damn if it's the court system. I don't give a damn if it's the hospital system. I don't give a damn if it's the school system, the law system. What you will find is more than half or the mass majority of the Black Americans that are in these systems are a part of the Divine Nine organization. The mass majority of all the Black Americans that run through college every year, and we all know that the Divine Nine is less than 1% of that campus, you're not going to tell me that regular random Blacks couldn't get through. What that tells me is there are people in these systems that hold the gate to make sure only their kind comes in. Because there's too many Black Americans going in debt coming out of college, and you not about to tell me only the Jack and Jill kids are interested in being doctors, lawyers, and Indian chiefs. That's bullshit. This is what they don't want you to know, so that you accept them amongst you, so that you accept that 10% being on your 90% neck. They have to present it to you as if they are a friend, not a foe. But the fact of the matter is, none of these secret societies are friends to Black America. They are the main reason why we where we are. Let's get into what they want you to know about them. Y'all like the video, subscribe to the channel.
Jill of America's 85th Anniversary Founders Day documentary. My name is Cornisha McGill Brown, and I am the 27th National President of this illustrious organization. I am here at our national headquarters in Washington, D.C.
Baby, let me make you laugh. Somebody say my aunt was a boule in the AKA. My daddy's sister, who grew up with all, not my daddy's sister, my sister, remember I told y'all at the beginning of the live, who grew up with all the debutante balls and all that stuff, and I told y'all I wanted to do it, but it was too bougie. She was a principal, a high school principal, and guess what she is? A AKA. Hello? Let me let her cook.
Today, we are going to explore the rising of Jack and Jill through the years. Our journey begins with a walk down memory lane, visiting significant landmarks of our founders' past, which began the hallmark of our organization's purpose-driven work for the children. I have the privilege of being joined by past national archivist and author Valeda Llewellyn, as well as past national historian Stephanie Gilbert. Together, we go to where it all began, Philadelphia, 1938.
The Jack and Jill story began with an idea, a vision. Louise Dench went to New York, and she saw her friends there having a party for their children, and it was friends from all over. And she thought, this is a great idea. She thought about all of her friends in Philadelphia, and they were in different communities. They were spread out. And she thought, wouldn't it be wonderful if our children could come together like that?
Okay. Philadelphia could. Cap, they want us to believe that this old-ass woman, I ain't gonna call it out her name, but they want us to believe that she was sitting somewhere and she saw another secret society and said, wouldn't it be nice if the Black kids had their own secret society? Wouldn't it be nice if we could foster an environment for the kids to grow and be bullshit? Bullshit. Bullshit. But that's what they're going with. So I'm just telling y'all they lying.
And something like that. But I want our group to be a club permanently, not just all get together like Christmas. And so I thought about it, and I spoke to a friend of mine, and she thought it was a great idea. So I told her I had planned to speak to Marion, Turner, Stubbs, Thomas. And so I did, and we went up on a Sunday afternoon with my two sons, and we talked it over, and Marion agreed. It was a wonderful idea. And now, who should we have?
And just as she had suspected, Marion was on the phone calling all of the friends, bringing them together.
We were supposed to form a group whereby our children would get together.
Now, if that lady don't look white, I don't know what to tell y'all. Come on now. Come on now. And I don't need y'all dropping down in the comments talking about, I have an aunt that's so light-skinned, she looks white. Bitch, I don't give a damn. This lady is a white woman. I digress, though. Y'all, you know how y'all is. You know how y'all is. I digress. Let me mind my business, child, here.
Together. So, Marion got this list made up, and quite a few, and we made these calls. She made these calls and got us all together.
She called me a day or so later and told me that she had arranged a meeting at her house. So I went.
And the rain, the storm, and everything happened that night.
But yet they came together, those that made it. We don't know how many invitations originally went out. Right. At least I don't know that. Right. I don't have that committed to memory. But we know that the 21 or the 20 showed up.
And everybody was very enthusiastic about it. We needed something for our children because it was still the Depression. We had a chance to go swim. We couldn't go, like you said, we could not go to the white pool and swim.
So you were aware that there was a world within the world that your parents had created for you.
Yes. But we knew segregation was out there. There was no two ways. We knew it.
I mean, you went to school every day, so I mean, you knew that you went to public schools.
Interviewers.
Did y'all hear that? Let me run them back. Now, what did they say about segregation? They didn't experience segregation. She said we saw when we went to school. Hold on.
Like you said, we could not go to the white pool and swim.
So you were aware that there was a world within the world that your parents had created for you.
Yes. But we knew segregation was out there. There was no two ways. We knew it.
I mean, you went to school every day, so I mean, you knew that you went to public.
So the Jack and Jill children were shielded from even the segregation shit. They didn't even get to experience it until they went to school. I think a lot of black children would have loved to have been afforded that, especially in the hood and in the country where them crackers was going up and upside niggas' head with the KKK. I think that should have been something that was spread to all the niggas. But apparently, it was just for the Jack and Jill children. They knew about segregation, damn near sound like on TV. Sound like they saw segregation on TV with us, bitch. Girl, the Jack and Jill children learned about segregation with us on the TV, girl. Child.
Public schools.
Interviewers. One suggested, it was a club for the elite. I said, no, it wasn't for the elite. Or it was an elitist group. No, it was not an elitist group. You could be of the elite and not be an elitist.
We were just friends. We wanted our children to meet each other and know each other. It was more of that than anything else.
These were not wealthy people. These were teachers. These were committed people in their communities, but they weren't necessarily wealthy. Were some of them wealthy? Perhaps, yes, right? Maybe more. Right. They were clearly solidly middle class, but they invited people they knew into the club.
In the meeting, Bernice Dutrell named the group the Jack and Jill.
To me, I always think of that Jack and Jill name as a turning point for the whole organization, because as I sat there, I thought, we could call ourselves the Young Philadelphians. But now, would that name have loaned itself to the young Washingtonians, the young Chicagoans, the young New Yorkers, and all that? It would not have given the club itself a cohesive knitting. They're doing one name that fit all of the chapters.
Well, Louise knew that this was a great idea and that she was not the person to carry it through. And so she showed us what it is to be a friend. A friend is someone who knows you, knows your strengths, and knows your talent. And if they have an idea that fits you,
A friend will let you know.
a friend will let you know, and they'll be happy.
Oh, ma'am, get off of here, ma'am. Get off of here. Because you sound like you ain't to be trusted neither, all that smiling. And what is a friend? And what is a friend? Get off of here, ma'am. Because I feel like you might be doing something behind the scenes that we don't know about. Let me say this. The Jack and Jill Society, so far, they was shielded so well from society. Them children didn't even know that they had segregation, bitch. They didn't know Jim Crow. They knew Jim and they knew Mr. Crow. They never knew Jim and Crow was the same nigga. Okay? They said they didn't know about segregation till it was time to get up and go to school in the morning. They didn't pick up on segregation till it was getting time to get up and go to school in the morning. That tells me that these people were shielded. These children were shielded. But they remember, it makes sense to protect them because they are the asset. These Jack and Jill children are our future leaders. We don't want them all traumatized and jacked up with the rest of these hood children. It kind of reminds me of that episode of Good Times when JJ was messing with the girl who was from the rich neighborhood. And remember, her parents came back to Good Times and they came back to Florida House because they went to get her because she wanted to go to the prom or whatever with JJ. And Mr. Evans and the man got into it because basically James Evans' situation was you forgot where you came from, and the man's thing was I wasn't okay. His child would be Jack and Jill. James Evans Jr. or JJ would be the regular child. The biggest thing behind that episode was he didn't want his child to date JJ. Not because JJ wasn't a good kid. He even admitted that JJ was super talented, but he understood status. He understood status and how it relates to mentality and how it relates to results. He understood that he had probably had his daughter under some sort of Jack and Jill society where her mind is equipped and ready to be a leader of society to keep her 10% foot on the 90% neck, whereas JJ's mentality is different. He come up under hood and struggle. He loves people. He want to help everybody. He don't want to be the one at the top with his foot on the bottom of people's neck. And the odds of him getting to the top coming from where he came from are slim to none. I'm saying all that to say, when y'all understand that this racial stuff is one thing, but it's about status more than anything, you'll understand that the reason why these things is this, because this status needs to start from the beginning and go all the way to the end so that these people can be the next leaders of the world. This Jack and Jill shit ain't nothing but some grooming for the next leaders. Somebody said Jasmine Crockett. It wouldn't surprise me. She give me Jack and Jill teas. She do. She give me Jack and Jill teas. She gives me that she came up under that type of situation. Well, her mom and daddy knew the people, and she became mother Jack and Jill. Them be the ones popping up out of nowhere. You be like, girl, who that is? I don't know. What school she went? I don't know. Or next thing you know, they the next city councilman. You be like, girl, where they come from? Jack and Jill. Hello. I don't want to get the music.
To be brilliant. Child of God.
Fast forward.
Louise Truett Jackson Dench is the mother who conceived the idea of Jack and Jill because she wanted Christmas to last all year long.
I went to Brooklyn once to visit a friend. She was telling me what a wonderful Christmas they had with their friends, with their visiting friends who had moved away to various boroughs and cities. They all had these children now, and everyone came back and had a Christmas party. I enjoyed the story, and I said, gee, Philadelphia could really enjoy something like that. But I want our group to be a club, permanently, not just get-togethers at Christmas.
Miriam Turner Stubbs Thomas, founder of Jack and Jill of America.
To us as mothers, Jack and Jill has become a means of furthering an inherent and natural desire to bestow upon our children all of the opportunities possible for normal and graceful approach to beautiful adulthood.
Jack and Jill of America was founded January 24, 1938, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and was incorporated under the laws of the state of Delaware on August 28, 1941. From a meeting of 20 mothers in Philadelphia, the idea of bringing children together in a social and cultural environment has spread to over 223 chapters in 34 states, including the District of Columbia. Today, the national headquarters is located in the historical Strivers District in Washington, D.C. From the beginning, Jack and Jill of America focused on instilling the values and leadership skills that will serve each child well into adulthood. The concept was so inspiring that it soon spread to other cities in other states.
From that small group of women that gathered 72 years ago, Jack and Jill has evolved into a renowned national institution led by the finest women committed to our founder's vision.
The spirit of these women lived through the daily expression of Jack and Jill's national goals.
To create a medium of contact for children which will stimulate their growth and development.
To provide constructive, educational, cultural, civic, recreational, social, and service programs for children.
To aid mothers in learning more about their children by careful study.
To seek for all children the same advantages that we desire for our own.
To support all legislation aimed at better conditions for all children.
I think my biggest problem with the Jack and Jill Society is it's a secret. I just found out about this when Cherie said she wasn't Jack and Jill and Karen and Giselle was. I was yesterday years old when I heard about the Jack and Jill. My thing is, I think it's beautiful, but why isn't this grace extended to the masses of us? Why is it only a select few people who get to bring their children? You know why. You know why. But you would have to ask yourself that. Why is it that this isn't extended to the masses of us? If you know that as Black Americans, we've been put down in society, shouldn't that be something you want to share with all of us? Like, hey, y'all, keep it a secret. And I get it, you can't tell everybody. But I mean, shouldn't it be something you want to share with the masses to be like, hey, this is a way that we can come out. This is a way that we can do better. Nah, y'all just keep this shit and then y'all show us y'all going on picnics and field trips and shit, making it seem like a summer camp whole time. These children in there taking rituals and blood oaths at 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, allegedly. And now they running the world. Now they the next governor. Now they the next mayor. Now they the next doctor. Now they the next dentist. Now they the next coroner. Now they you see? Man.
These goals are brought to life by programs such as National Leadership Project, which facilitates youth leadership training, National Day of Service in honor of civil rights leader Martin Luther King Jr., Read Across America, promoting literacy and participation in the National African American Read-In.
Every year, Jack and Jill observe special days that celebrate our heritage and commemorate historic events. In September, chapters celebrate Carol Robertson Day to honor our former team member from Birmingham, who is one of 4 girls who was killed in the Baptist church bombing on September 15, 1963. A resolution was adopted to honor her memory by planning activities that encompass human and civil rights, as well as racial harmony that Carol was denied.
In celebration of our first national president, Dorothy Wright's concept that we gather our families together, chapters are directed to coordinate a family activity to bring members together after the summer. On May 5, 1987, Congressman William Gray III from Pennsylvania entered a tribute to Jack and Jill of America into the congressional record as a Black Family Day. Chapters dedicate a day in May to highlight the cultural heritage of African Americans and plan activities that focus on family. We also acknowledge the needs of children worldwide with special emphasis on the needs of children in Africa through a partnership with AfriCare.
These are only a few of the national innovative programs that the National Jack and Jill sponsor throughout the 223 chapters. The idea of a regional plan of the national organization was first advanced at the third annual meeting of Jack and Jill of America, Incorporated, held in Washington, D.C. in 1948. For several years, the regional plan was discussed during annual conventions. At the 1957 annual convention held in San Francisco, the regional plan of the organization was finally adopted, and the regional director was appointed and elected. The first regional meeting was held in 1959. Regional conferences are held on alternate years with the national conventions.
Currently, the organization is divided into 7 regions: Central, Eastern, Far West, Mid-Atlantic, Midwestern, South Central, and Southeastern. Each of the 7 regions has 3 officers: Regional Director, Regional Secretary Treasurer, and Foundation Member at Large. These officers are responsible for providing continuity between the National Executive Board and the chapters in their respective regions. The regional officers are elected during the biennial regional conferences, which convene on the odd-numbered years following the national convention.
Oh, they had one in New Orleans. It started March 27, 1952. The leader is Mrs. Roberta Bob Johnson. Let's see where else they got one at. I know they everywhere. Let me see where else niggas be. Houston. Niggas love Houston. Let's see. There you go. Jack and Jill of Houston. When this one was started. I ain't know none of this. This is all new to me. I was yesterday years old when I heard about Jack and Jill, baby. But they got one in Houston. Where else niggas live? Let's go to Memphis. I know they out there. Jack and Jill Memphis. Let's see Jack and Jill Memphis. Yup, Jack and Jill Memphis. The power to make. Look, I ain't making this up with y'all. I'm pulling them up. The power to vote. Ages 2 to 19. Let's check. We know they in Atlanta. If they ain't nowhere, them niggas in Atlanta. Let's see Atlanta. I couldn't even finish Atlanta. They definitely in Atlanta. City of Atlanta chapter welcomes you. They started in 1951. Where else niggas live? New Jersey? They all over. When I tell you hidden in plain sight, hidden in plain sight. Hidden in plain sight. Jack and Jill Central, New Jersey. They got their chapter. Look. Y'all knew all of this? I ain't know. Let's check Oakland. Hold on. Man, watch out. My sister might be a Jack and Jill. She ain't never said nothing. Jack and Jill Oakland. OBAC. Baltimore. Let's put them in. They everywhere, my nigga. Everywhere. You went to school with these people. Greater Baltimore County. jackandjill.org. They everywhere. They everywhere. And I was yesterday years old when I found out about it. Crazy work, ain't it? Let's get into who all is Jack and Jill. Let's get into some of these notable members. It says, this is under criticism under Wikipedia. Jack and Jill has been criticized by many African Americans as a bunch of elitist, bourgeois, light-skinned blacks who want to be white. In its early years, the organization was known for memberships who had good hair and light skin. It says the Washington Post notes that Jack and Jill's critics have described it as a snobbish club for black elites. However, its members consider their organization to be selective rather than snobbish. Now, I'm looking at some of these names. Who is Suzanne Douglas? That name sounds familiar. She's an actress. Is she black? Suzanne Douglas. Oh, she black. Yes, she is. What she played on? Her best known for role as the matriarch Geraldine Jerry Peterson from the Oh, that's the mama from. Ooh, that's the mama from Parenthood. Oh, Oh, I ain't know that. Who else? Who is Julian Bond? Julian Bond. Who this nigga is? Julian Bond was an American social activist. Okay, we don't care about him. His name sounded familiar. I'm trying to see who on here that we know. Ted Ellis, he's a painter. Oh, they putting the pictures up right here. We ain't got to do all that. Hold on. Helen Octavia Dickens. Who that is? An American physician, medical and social activist, see, all these people have, listen, look at all these titles by these people names. These are the members, and look at the titles next to their names. This one is an astronaut. This one is a politician. Come on, man. Didn't I tell you that Jack and Jill is grooming the future leaders? Did I not tell you that? A civil rights activist, physician and club woman. Who else we got on here? Photographer, political advisor, politician, pharmacist, writer, editor, baseball player. Jackie Robinson was in the doggone thing. Felicia Rashad, Claire Huxtable. What is y'all saying? All these people. Who else? That we know for sure. Who else on this list? Betty Shabazz, Malcolm X's wife. Can we talk? Jackie Robinson, the baseball player. Can we talk? Come on, man. Now, y'all can sit up here and say that this is all coincidences, that these people just so happen to be Jack and Jill and just so happen to be in these positions. These niggas is astronauts, my nigga. They got astronauts coming out of Jack and Jill. Come on now. Watch out. Is we gonna be honest or we gonna use our logical mind? What we doing? These niggas is coming out of Jack and Jill at the tippy top of the tippy top. Obama wasn't in there. He wasn't an American. Oops. Obama wasn't in there. Now his churn might be in there because he American now. But Obama wasn't an American, so he wouldn't have come up under that. Who else? Marion Turner Stubbs. That's her. That's the founder. Who this is? Alberta Banner Turner, academic, Mary Parks, Lynn Whitfield. Y'all remember her? It's a thin line from the thin line between love and hate. Y'all remember her? I'm telling y'all, bruh, if it was a snake, it would have bit us. Every day, I'm starting to understand the brother Steve Coakley day to day. Why he was so passionate about exposing the boule and exposing this Freemasonry shit. It wasn't about him knowing something and just telling y'all. It was about an awakening, man. Listen, when you realize the play that's been played around you, you have to move different. You have to think different and you have to move different. If you never understand the people that's hidden in plain sight or the things that's hidden in plain sight to hinder you, you move the same, meaning you probably gonna run into the same issues. The point I'm making with this whole thing is this, and I'm gonna end it here. The point I'm making with this whole thing is this. Like I said, if I didn't run across the Real Housewives of Potomac and hear Sharice talk about how she was kicked out, and I'm gonna play that. Matter of fact, let me play that again before we get out of here, so y'all can understand why we got here. For y'all who just came on. For those of you who just came on, I found out about Jack and Jill not because I was searching. I was watching, looking for gossip for my other channel, and I ran across Sharice from Real Housewives of Potomac. And on this show, she spoke about how she was pushed out Real Housewives of Potomac because the network wanted to make it Jack and Jill. She said Karen was already Jack and Jill. She said Gizzard was already Jack and Jill, but she was not. Now, she's implying that they pushed her out because she wasn't. And I'm going to tell you, she's not lying. Because this talented 10th is a very closed secret society. It is not meant for you and yours to join. If it were, you would know about it. Now, they like to present this stuff. They like to present this stuff as if, oh, no, it's no big deal. It's no secret. It's open to the public. Look, yeah, you can come on in. But that is to keep you stupid. They don't want you to awaken to what's really going on. This is where I found this. I found this from Sharice saying how she was pushed out of Real Housewives of Potomac because of Jack and Jill. Let's get into it for those who didn't see it at the beginning of the live.
I had the nicest home. those girls didn't even have attorneys. I did their contracts. My attorney did their contracts. Okay. The everything was in my home. Our photo shoot was in my house. The show, there was, you know how it is. First season shows, there's not a lot of money. So all these things, it seemed like, I think it looked like it was about me, and people decided, no, we're gonna make it about us. Karen and Giselle aligned and decided we're gonna erase Charisse. They created a whole new narrative. Okay. And you probably don't know this, Carlos. Like at one point, now imagine this. I'm like a self-appointed casting person for the show. Okay. I'm setting up meetings in Starbucks, meeting people. Because at first we were trying to make it Potomac people. And I told them from the door, I said, Potomac people are not going to do this show. They don't have to. You know what I'm saying? They're not. And so it got to a point, I'm interviewing these people, I'm having casting parties. It was fun for me, you know? And like I said, I called Giselle, Robin, I called everybody. I didn't call Ashley. Ashley, I didn't know Ashley. But everybody else on the cast was a result of me in some capacity, right? But then when you go to shoot the pilot, you come up with an idea to eliminate Charisse. They were trying to make it Jack and Jill. I'm the only one that's not Jack and Jill. Okay. Giselle's Jack and Jill. Karen's Jack and Jill. Ashley wasn't Jack and Jill. But she had
Katie was on the
and they were trying.
Carlos, is you Jack and Jill?
Trying to get Katie. They were recruiting Katie to get her kids involved in Jack and Jill. That was a storyline. However, and my thing is, how are we doing? I'm not a part of Jack and Jill. Like, how you come? That was the beginning of trying to exclude me from the from the group.
So this is where I found Jack and Jill, because I'm like, what the fuck is Jack and Jill? And it turns out Bravo even wanted to use that as a storyline. And it seems like behind the scenes, they only wanted the Jack and Jill girls to run the show. Let me tell you why that would make sense. Remember, Charisse was supposed to be the grand dame before Karen. But Charisse is not a Jack and Jill kid. She's not indoctrinated to go with the move that these children are indoctrinated to go, or were indoctrinated to go with. So with that being said, it sounds like they used Charisse to get the show going, like they do most of us, and then they took off with their talented 10th, that Jack and Jill society. This is where I found yesterday about the freaking Jack and Jill. And I'm going to tell you this, like I say, Google claims that they are not related to the Freemasons. Google also says they're not related to the Boule. So for those situations, I'm going to repeat that. They say that them people is not related. However, the rituals and all of the things that they do is a pipeline right into the Boule, the Divine Nine, all of that stuff, Freemasonry, all of it. The Jack and Jill Society, from what I've seen, seems to be a pipeline for children aged starting at 1 and 2 years old. That's how young you could be joining Jack and Jill. So they're catching you at a little bitty baby. So starting at 1 and 2 years old, you can groom your child to be the next future leader, not only future leader, but also you can groom them to be the talented 10, the 10% of the people that is going to keep its foot on 90% of the people's neck. You know who keep coming to me? Jasmine Guy's character in A Different World. I'm pretty sure Whitley Gilbert was a real person. She was definitely a Jack and Jill kid. Does that make sense? It's about status, y'all. You could be dark-skinned in the Jack and Jill. If the status is there, you good. Here's Wonder Woman. Thank you so much for the super sticker. I appreciate you. Connie Freeman, thank you for the super sticker. Tina Houston, thank you for the super sticker. I appreciate you. Shout out to y'all. Y'all, please get the likes up on the video. How do you say this? Erner Jet V Charge. Thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate you. Y'all like the video so it can get out in the algorithm. Ryan, thank you for the super chat. Says the two of ladies had hand signs, that one in the pink and the clear one in white. Boo, I already know, because everywhere I go, that's all I see. I'm so tired of seeing that shit. I'm like, girl, what is tea? Courtney 2410, thank you so much for being a member for 11 months. Says Jack and Jill can't open their doors to the riffraff, honey. Clock it. Clock it. My ghetto ass can't come in there talking about enrolling my child. Clock it. My little ghetto black ass can't come in there talking about enrolling mine. And I'm pretty sure you can't enroll. Y'all can't either. So I'm not out here by myself. One Love Life 8. Thank you for the super chat. Says, keep it up, boo. Much love. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Dimple Poppin'. Thank you for the super sticker. Y'all, I'm about to get up off here. Please, one thing I tell y'all every time I do this. First of all, if you're new to Educational Friday, welcome. Thank you for being here. We do this every Friday. It's unlearning the shit that they lied to us about. That's all education. It sounds boring, but it's really not if you're interested, right? But if you're new here, thank you for being here. We do this every Friday at 5:30 around that time, and we like to just go over stuff to unlearn the bullshit so we can relearn. But this is also opening our eyes to what's really going on here. There's a lot of people smiling and laughing in our face, and they're not all enemies, or they're not all white people. Some of them are people who look like us and ain't us, and the fact of the matter is a lot of them are us. We have to harden our hearts to the enemy to, no matter who they are, have the same reaction. An enemy is an enemy is an enemy. I don't give a damn if you my mom. An enemy is an enemy is an enemy. With that being said, do your own research. Y'all, please keep your head on the swivel. And I'm going to check out. I'll catch y'all tomorrow at the dollhouse, and we'll joke some crap. And I'll see y'all later on next week at the Morning Jokes, and next Friday at Educational Friday. I love each and every one of y'all. Take care. Peace.
Can you hear me now? Oh, let's go! It's your boy Big Chew, the voice of the beat. You know what I won't blaze up. Come on, blaze up.
It's the beat for me.
Wow, 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 wow. For your guy, for your B-O-Y. Drop it for your guy, for your B-O-Y. Do it for your guy, for your B-O-Y. Come on, baby, we live. For your boy. For your boy. Also for your boy. Fix it for your boy. Drop it for your, wow, 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 wow. Lift it up.
Mr. Carroll, how you give the voodoo doll time to talk? I don't get no fucking time to talk.
Who the voodoo doll is?
The nigga you just had up here.